Breaking news right now. Libyan rebels say former dictator Muammar Gaddafi is dead. This video was taken on a cell phone. Rebels say that the body shown here is that of Gaddafi. They say that he was killed during an attack on the city of Sirte today. That was the last loyalist stronghold. The U.S. State Department, however, is not yet confirming that this is in fact Gaddafi, but U.S. officials say that the evidence is very strong that it is. Good evening, I'm Phil Doherty. Welcome to INN News. The death of a dictator, that is your top story tonight. There are big implications for Libya, the Middle East, and even the rest of the world. Cheryl Castro has more on this breaking news.
Celebrations rang out from Sirte to Tripoli on news that ousted Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi had been killed by revolutionary fighters.
Every indication that we got from the field that Colonel Gaddafi is history.
Conflicting information swirled about his capture and whether he was wounded or dead. Dramatic video emerged that appears to show a bloodied Gaddafi being captured. The National Transitional Council information minister said Gaddafi was killed in a battle.
According to our people, they are saying they are attacking a house. He was there and he tried to flee and they killed him. When they met him, he was alive and he killed in action.
Gaddafi had been on the run since August when rebels marched into Tripoli. But today, revolutionary fighters claim they took control of his hometown Sirte, which was considered the final holdout of his loyalists.
It's a big day, it's a historic day for the Libyan people. Finally, the liberation of Sirte, the hometown of Colonel Gaddafi. I think it's a great victory for Libyan people, a great victory for revolution.
That was Cheryl Castro reporting. Libya's justice minister also says that Gaddafi's son and one-time heir apparent, Saif al-Islam, has been captured and wounded by rebel fighters. He is in the hospital. Al-Islam was reportedly shot in the leg. And cameras were rolling when Secretary of State Hillary Clinton heard the news. She was getting ready for an interview when she received a phone call with news of Gaddafi's apparent death.
Wow.
Unconfirmed.
Unconfirmed. Yeah.
Unconfirmed.
No. Unconfirmed reports about Gaddafi being captured.
Oh,
really? Unconfirmed. Yeah. We've had too many. We've had a bunch of those before. We've had, have had him captured a couple of times.
This time, though, looking much more likely, according to many officials. Meanwhile, Gaddafi ruled Libya with an iron fist since seizing power decades ago. Sandra Endo continues our coverage of our top story. She has a look back at his long rule and how it all came to an end.
Muammar Gaddafi always said his goal was to change the world, but it was the way he set out to do it that amused, confused, and often infuriated. As a 27-year-old army officer, Gaddafi overthrew Libya's king in 1969 and then set about wiping all foreign influence from his country. Gaddafi maintained a colorful profile wherever he went. He set up a Bedouin tent and was protected by an eye-catching female security detail. His speeches were legendary for both length and bombast.
It should not be called the Security Council, it should be called the Terror Council.
But while he sometimes may have appeared a clown on the world stage, Gaddafi's actions were often deadly. In 1986, Libyan agents were accused of bombing a Berlin nightclub, killing 2 Americans. President Ronald Reagan responded by bombing Tripoli, targeting Gaddafi's house.
We know that this mad dog of the Middle East has a goal of a world revolution, Muslim fundamentalist revolution.
The raid killed more than 100 people, including Gaddafi's daughter. 2 years later, Pan Am Flight 103 blew up over Lockerbie, Scotland, taking 270 lives. The attack was eventually traced back to Libya. The country refused to turn over the suspects, so the UN imposed tough sanctions. 11 years after the crash, Gaddafi finally handed over the suspected bombers for trial. In 2003, he surprised the world by agreeing to destroy all of his chemical, nuclear, and biological weapons following the U.S. invasion of Iraq. Scotland released one of the convicted Lockerbie bombers, who was said to be suffering from terminal cancer in 2009. The move sparked outrage, and rumors surfaced that he was released as part of a deal to allow Western oil companies access to Libya. The bomber was expected to live 3 months, but is still alive today. Rebellion spread across Libya in early 2011 after popular uprisings ousted leaders in neighboring countries like Egypt. As his government disintegrated, Gaddafi addressed the nation from the same house bombed by the U.S. in 1986. He vowed to die a martyr in Libya.
And that was Sandra Endo reporting. Florida police arrest a man that they believe is a serial rapist. That bust coming in Marion County. The Marion County Sheriff's Office announced the arrest of Michael Fry this morning. Police have been searching for the man who attacked 5 women since July. Fry, however, says that he is innocent. He says he is married and is willing to submit DNA to prove that innocence. Accused of trying to rob a convenience store with a sword, all while dressed as Spider-Man. Now he's in police custody. Police in North Carolina say 56-year-old Dale Fogdy hit the store in Onslow County yesterday. The clerk fought back, poking the man in the stomach with a broom while another employee joined in. The suspect ran, but his mask was ripped off during the scuffle. Fogdy faces several charges. The Government Accountability Office says federal banks need to do a better job of preventing conflicts of interest. The new report focuses on transparency issues with financial executives serving on the bank's boards. It found several financial firms and corporations could have benefited financially following the 2008 economic crisis. That's because their executives served on these boards. The audit was done as part of a mandate in the Wall Street reform law. Citigroup will have to pay up over fraud charges. The bank agreed to pay $285 million. That's to settle charges from the Securities and Exchange Commission. It says that Citigroup marketed and sold a mortgage-related debt obligation in 2007, and it says Citi basically bet against that debt and in the end pocketed $160 million, all while leaving investors empty-handed. Citigroup neither admitted nor denied the allegations. That was all part of that settlement. Rising airfares and Mickey D's is serving up some entertainment. That and more in tonight's Back to Business. Little change in the latest unemployment figures. The Labor Department reports about 403,000 Americans filed for their first week of benefits last week. That's a slight drop from initial claims filed the week before, but it shows little improvement over the last 6 months. It has remained at 9.1% since July. Economists say there is little reason to expect much improvement when more than 400,000 new claims are being filed each week. The trip to Grandma's house might cost more this holiday season. That's according to Hotwire.com. It says airfare is on the rise. For Thanksgiving, it's up 6% compared to last year. Around Christmas, it's up 10%. Some reasons for the increase: more demand and fewer flights. McDonald's customers may soon be able to get food, drinks, and entertainment at their local restaurant. The world's largest hamburger chain is launching the McDonald's Channel. Mickey D TV will feature original programming with news, sports, and entertainment coverage of the local community. The new channel is being introduced over the next few months in Southern and Central California. If it's well received, it could go nationwide. And there is still much more to come on INN News after dozens of wild animals escaped a preserve in Ohio. Tonight, new details on the man said to be responsible. That and more next.